Imagine this. You're just minutes away from landing at one of the busiest airports in the world. Everything feels normal. Then, without warning, both engines stop working. The plane begins to fall. You're 720 feet above the ground, and there's almost no time left. This isn't a movie. This really happened. Today, we're diving into the incredible true story of British Airways Flight 38 AIA, flight that came terrifyingly close to disaster, and yet, somehow, no one died. It's a story of a hidden danger, split-second decisions, and an emergency landing that left aviation experts stunned. Let's unravel what happened that day. In simple language anyone can understand. It was set January 2008, and British Airways Flight 38, a Boeing 777-200ER, had taken off from Beijing, bound for London Heathrow Airport. On board were 136 passengers and 16 crew members, a total of 152 people flying over 8,100 kilometers, crossing over Mongolia, Siberia, and Scandinavia. The weather outside was brutal. Temperatures ranged between -65 degrees Celsius to -74 degrees Celsius. Crew was vigilant, especially about the fuel, as extreme cold can freeze it. But everything looked fine. Fuel temperature was stable at -34 degrees Celsius, still within safety limits. In the cockpit were three highly experienced pilots. Captain Peter Burke, with 12,700 hours of flight time, Senior First Officer John Coward, with 9,000 hours, and First Officer Connor Magnus, with 5,000 hours. As the flight approached runway 27L at Heathrow, the clock struck 12:42 p.m. The plane was only 2 miles from the runway and descending smoothly at 720 feet. The pilots engaged the auto throttle to give the engines more power for a perfect landing. But then, something went horribly wrong. The right engine failed to respond. Its power dropped drastically. Just 7 seconds later, the left engine began doing the same. Both engines were now producing dangerously low thrust. The plane began losing speed fast. Despite the autopilot's effort to maintain glide, the speed dropped to 108 knots. The aircraft was now just 150 feet above the ground. This was crisis mode. First Officer John Coward took manual control. Captain Burkill quickly adjusted the flaps from 30 to 25, reducing drag to stretch their glide just a bit more, a small move that made a massive difference. Below them, the A30 highway was packed with cars. A crash there would have been catastrophic. With seconds left, they declared an emergency, but the message accidentally went to the control tower, not the passenger system. Still, the crew acted fast. The first officer gently pulled back the control column, trying to lift the plane's nose for a softer crash. At 12 hours 42 minutes and 9 seconds, the aircraft crash landed on the grass, just short of the runway 330 meters from the start of runway 27L. The landing gear tore into the ground. The right main gear broke off, puncturing a fuel tank. The nose gear collapsed. Both engines slammed into concrete covers. But somehow, there was no fire. The evacuation began quickly, though the first call had gone to the wrong channel. The captain soon gave the proper command. Passengers escaped down emergency slides. Out of 152 people on board, 47 were injured, but only one was seriously hurt, a concussion and a broken leg. Everyone else, safe, alive. It was called nothing short of a miracle. Then came the investigation. At first, theories floated: contaminated fuel, mechanical failure, but the Air Accident Investigation Branch, AAIB, eventually found the real cause. A hidden and deadly flaw in the fuel system. Tiny water particles in the fuel had frozen in the intense cold and collected in a component called the fuel oil heat exchanger, FO. When the engines needed extra fuel during landing, the ice blocked the flow. This was not just a one-off issue. A few months later, a Delta Airlines flight reported a similar problem. Boeing and Rolls-Royce quickly redesigned the FO, and by the European Aviation Safety Agency made it mandatory for all Boeing 777s. The aviation industry learned valuable lessons that day. Critical design flaws can lurk unseen for years. Extreme weather preparedness matters more than ever, and in emergencies, human skill still makes the difference. Captain Burkill, First Officer Coward, and the entire crew were awarded British Airways' highest safety medal, and even honored by the Royal Aeronautical Society, because on that cold January day, 152 lives were saved, not by luck, but by calm minds, quick action, and pure flying skill. So, what do you think of this story? Ever heard of a near-disaster ending like this? Let us know in the comments if you found this video interesting. Give it a like, share it with friends, and subscribe our channel. We'll be back soon with another gripping story from the skies. Until then, stay safe and keep flying.